coming to the zone here. 10 back. 5. Green, green, green.
Hello and welcome back to the Hot Lap, your home for everything iNRS racing. I'm Clark Franz, driver of the number 15 Chevrolet Camaro for Roadrunner Motorsports.
Tony Japs, driver of the number 42 Chevrolet Camaro.
Vernon Brodbeck, driver of number 10 Chevrolet Camaro for Roadrunner Motorsports.
Corey Bunch, 77, Fourth Auto Motorsports.
I'm glad we could all finally find a time to record and get back in the booth here, put out an episode.
Good to be back.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you guys all back, and we've missed everybody. So, first off, as always, we're going to start out congratulating the past race winner. Congrats again, Jordan Booth, on another win. I feel like I've said that about 10 times this year. I don't know the exact number, but it's been a lot. Congrats on another win.
It's about the most excited you're going to hear about that one anymore.
Corey, how'd your race go at Talladega?
I think I finished like 14th, but that was, God, I think it came to like some kind of a strategy. Everyone got split up, and that was kind of the end of that. I don't know. I remember there was a point in time where it was me and Wenzel. Wenzel was behind me. We was thinking we probably had a chance to catch like the pack in front of us, and then going into the corner, he hit me the wrong way or hooked me the wrong way, and almost spun out turn 3, saved the car, and then lost the draft, and that was kind of the end of my race there. But I know it wasn't anything unintentional that he was doing. He was just trying to help, but you know, save the wreck. But yeah, 14th, kind of what you expect out of super speedway racing at its finest. Thank God that's the last one. I don't have to hear about it for the rest of the year.
You're welcome for picking you up in the draft, by the way. You really would have been screwed.
Well, I was kind of thinking that someone would have left me out because I would have been fine because I saw you coming and I'm like, do I want to get out of the way or do I just need to stay where I'm at? Because I don't even know at this point. And yeah, you come over and you gave me a shove. So I appreciate that. It kind of, helped out for the most part, but, I would have been fine if you left me out. So
I was really hoping me and Vince were swapped on positions and I was pushing the leader. I don't know. Vince was doing everything that I was doing, but for some reason it felt like we were driving a little slower at that point.
yeah.
Corey, I know you secretly love plate races. You're just trying to act like you don't, but
All the best.
It's
Yeah.
good.
I wish we could race them like 36 times out of the year. Yeah, I know. Love it.
You know what he loves? You know what he loves even more than plate races? Yule strategy.
Oh, definitely loves that too. Or if you combine them both, it's just over the top for Corey excitement. Not a bad 14th place finish. 1 place ahead. Vernon Brodbeck. How was your race? We won't get too far into the craziness at the end, but give us your kind of overall synopsis.
Well, I put myself in a bind not being able to pick up stage points because somehow, some way, a phantom portion of my tire, I guess, crossed the yellow line on pit exit. I mean, my tires were on the yellow line, but somehow I got an unsafe pit exit, so I had to pit, and I ended up going a lap down in stage 1. Clark,
so that's what happened.
I went back and looked at it, the replay after the race, and we were looking at both the right front and right rear tires, and they were planted on that yellow line the entire time. But apparently, it had to have just been a millimeter over that iRacing decided it was going to black flag me for it.
Got you by a pixel.
Because we had the issue with the black flags at the beginning of the race, and none of those got clear, I knew there was no chance of me even trying to get Josh to clear mine, which, I mean, I don't know if he would have had we had the black flags clear at the beginning or not, but, it would have been nice to at least have had an attempt at it.
I would have asked to have it cleared because I think that's 2 very different incidents. I think that they made it known that since they were forcing some people to pit at the beginning, they were going to make them all. But I think that's one incident of black flags. I think yours is separate. I would have personally asked. Especially if it's what you say. I didn't go back and look, but if it's right on the yellow line, I think that's pretty clearable offense for Josh.
I
You
wasn't
got-
going to put Josh in that situation of having to make a choice of do I clear this after not clearing theirs, and I just I'm not going to put him in that situation and all of a sudden have the entire field just chirping at him.
You got Whitley's black flag that he didn't get. I was following him off pit road at one point, and the tires were over the yellow line just for a millisecond, but he didn't get a black flag for it.
Mine were on the line. They were, like I said, it had to have been anywhere from less than an inch to a millimeter over. It couldn't have been much because I was underneath the blue. I was right over top the blue line, off the track when I crossed. I followed Musso off, and we cycled over. Booth and them just started passing us as we were up to speed. So we cycled in top four, top five spot. Me and Joseph. I was just like, I don't understand where the penalty came from. I was so dumbfounded. I was like, did I really cross that line somewhere? Because I literally followed the tire tracks of the 28.
And a much better finish than all of us, though. Tony, standout finish, 5th place.
One round too late.
Yeah, right. It was probably the best plate race that I've put together ever. I didn't speed on pit road. I didn't lose the pack on pit road. I didn't slide through my pit box. And I didn't get caught up in anybody else's wreck. So there was unfortunately a lot of fuel saving the first stage, and most of the second run was all fuel save. So we didn't get a whole lot of racing done till the very end, but all in all, it was a decent day for us.
I was putting together a good race. I finished 4th in the first stage. I probably could have finished a little bit better than 4th, but coming off of turn 4, I was pushing Austin, and I didn't want to risk wrecking him, and I kind of backed off a little bit. But coming into the second stage, I don't know how to do fuel calculations, or I'm bad at math, probably a combination of both. And I, for some reason, thought we needed a wreck to stop the fuel mileage game, which was not the case. Anyways, I put it over the air, and Martin Pinnell said, "Say no less," and wrecked and took me with him.
That
So
was the wreck that put me on the lead lap.
I actually don't know if it was Martin's fault or not, but I definitely got caught up in that, and I was damaged the rest of the race. It was no fun for me. I think I might have finished in last place. Let's see. I was 24th out of 27, so it was not my day. So I did not have a good day, but I did not have the drama that Vernon and Whitley had. I know, Vernon, you're so excited to talk about this. Before we get to your opinion, Vernon, we're going to go through our opinions. So, Corey, did you get a chance to watch that incident?
Oh, that happened in front of me. That's how I was able to get 14th, was because of Whitley just dying in the wall over there. But I knew I just remember hearing Eric and Tony talking about how their race was going, and then I was kind of just settle in back there because I wasn't going to be able to go up any higher. And then all of a sudden, I see Vernon go out of line, and then not even a half a second later, Whitley's in the wall, and just avoided all that. And I'm like, I think Whitley just got turned, and you didn't hear anything from Whitley at all, and probably just because we're just in disbelief that he was to be able to just being in a wreck on the last lap. Yeah, it just sucks because Whitley was just content where he was at, and then that happened, and it's put him in a hole, I think, in the playoffs now.
Any thoughts on what happened there, though?
What do you mean? Just like, because I looked at the replay, but I mean, I know he's even here, but it's just a bad misjudgment call from Vernon trying to pass Whitley, and it may be one of those things too, where Whitley went up, but I mean, the two still met, and Whitley's the one that ended up in the wall. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know exactly how, if it was too late and he just happened to catch his right rear quarter or what, but I wasn't driving that car. I just knew I probably would have left a little earlier, pull out of line, and maybe had some help then. But I mean, like I said, that's me, and that's, everyone's different of how they try to side suck a lot of people, and that might have been probably maybe what Vernon was trying to do, and it just failed.
Before I give my opinion, I'll let you give yours, Tony. Did you get a chance to look at it?
So I watched it. I didn't see it live because I was trying to push Eric to a win. But I heard Corey say something about it and went back and watched, and it. I really think that it was just both of them fighting for the same spot. Michael needed the good run because I think he lost about 8 positions out of that, and he's 7 points out of the playoff right now. I don't know. I think that depending on how you look at it, it could have been a bad side draft or it could have been a late block. I wasn't driving either car, so I just hope they both have good rovals.
Man, you guys are taking the very politician type stance, right in the middle of the road. Don't want to piss anybody off. And
I ain't worried about pissing people
I was gonna
off,
say, yeah.
but what can you say about it? I mean, it's not like I don't think Vernon was going to be, Whitley and just take him in the wall for one spot. I mean,
I think if you look at it, and here's where I'm gonna have some people that are like, "Oh, I'm standing up for Vernon. You guys are good friends and teammates," but like,
Jeez.
first off, it's a racing incident. First off, I'll say that. But second off, if you look at where the contact happened and how much room Whitley moved up from the line, like if Vernon's expecting someone to hold the bottom line like you would think they would in that situation, I mean, Vernon moved up plenty high, and I think that looking back, I would have tried to give a little bit more room myself. But at the end of the day, like, you're both playoff drivers racing for points that truly matter. And I think it was just a racing incident. I don't think it was a mess up on either person's part. It was just hard racing and it caused a wreck, which happens all the time in NASCAR. I think the fallout came from what was said in the Discord afterwards, which we'll let Vernon expand into that if he wants. But I don't see fault in the 10 car at all, personally. But I'm sure that I'll catch flack for that. But Vernon, the one involved, let's get your opinion on it.
I mean, yeah, obviously I wasn't trying to wreck Whitley. I was just trying to get to his outside, keep tight on him, kind of boost myself with momentum. Vince had kind of lost us because I had pushed Whitley out there so far that I didn't have the help at the time. I knew I was going to get the help, but I figured the more in front of him I can get, the less chance I have of him pulling us back once Vince gets to me. Obviously, I talked to Josh, and my steering wheel was pointed right the entire time before we made contact. Even after we made contact, my steering wheel was going right. I didn't want to make an egregious move out. I didn't want to take speed off my car to get out of line. So I kind of, I went a little slower than I probably should have. And Willie drifted up. We made contact. We put him in the wall. It sucks looking back at it. I wish I would just stayed in line and taken 11th because obviously I lost 2 spots and he lost 7 spots off of that entire ordeal. I don't think the guys behind us were going to get to us if I just stay in line, but we're both racing for a playoff spot and every point matters, especially for coming to the Roval where I don't feel one bit comfortable racing at to begin with. That practice tonight showed that. So that was kind of the mindset, was just to get to his outside and kind of pull myself forward off of him and then let Vince get to me and push me even farther, or hoping that's was going to happen, but unfortunately we put him in the wall. The incident or the Discord afterwards, I had no ill intent with the words that I said, and we talked. It came off as I was better than him, and honestly, I don't ever think that. Me and Whitley are pretty identical racers. I don't think one's better than the other. If anything, I feel like I've had more luck this year than I should have had, and that's why I'm sitting where I am in points, especially at the end of the regular season, compared to the luck that he's kind of had. But, obviously, he's going to race me how he feels he needs to race me, and whatever happens, happens. If I get wrecked off of his nose and it's not intentional, and I deserve it. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and moan if it happens like that.
Well, we'll turn the spotlight off of you. I think it sucked in the moment for both of you. There was some heated, discussion, but I think moving forward, I think you guys kind of both realized it wasn't and wouldn't have ever been intentional. Hopefully it doesn't come down to an incident between you two the rest of the playoffs, and who knows, maybe both of you guys will get in. Whitley's a good road course racer. I know you are as well, but there's also some good ones up there that aren't locked in, so it's going to be a heck of a roval. Before we head on to that next race, we're going to go ahead and move into Put It Out. First question for the Put It Out section, I'm going to start with you, Tony. It's going to be Talladega should be in the playoffs every year.
Yes, green flag. Absolutely. I think that the race itself, it's got that era of drama to it. Granted, it is more on the entertainment side, but I'm a big fan of the wild card and drama.
I could probably just give it a yellow flag, because you gotta, at least with these playoffs, since it started in 2014, you've got to have at least one wild card in there, because that's part of the manufactured entertainment that this goes along with all of it. Now, granted, this year's schedule has been just absolutely stupid, because we start off Atlanta.
I was about to ask.
Glen,
I was just about to ask you. There's more than one wild card this year, right?
Yeah, I was like, this schedule is different because you've got Atlanta, then you have the Glen, and then you follow Bristol, and then you had an actual racetrack in Kansas the next round. And then
an actual racetrack.
Yeah, and then you've got Talladega, and then you're coming to a godforsaken. I don't even know where to start with that in the next race. The oval, just garbage track. So yeah, you might as well go ahead and throw that in a wild card spot there too. But like this schedule this year is just so different than what it is in the past. I don't know if it's just to try to manipulate everybody else. I don't know what it is, but that's a whole other topic I'll get into. But no, for the time being, just make it a yellow flag for Talladega being in the playoffs. Like, as much as I hate it, you got to have that wild card, and Talladega kind of fits that category.
So we have a green from Tony, a yellow from Corey. Vernon, where are you at?
Yellow. It depends on if there's another super speedway in the playoffs, and I know Atlanta was kind of a weird spot this year. I don't think they're in the playoffs next year. I hope not.
No.
But if there's no other super speedway in the playoffs, I'm fine with Talladega being there. Just having one, just for the wild card. Now, the road courses, on the other hand, I'm sure we'll get into that topic, so I'll leave that for something else. But yeah, just one wild card in the playoffs is fine. I wouldn't want to see more. I know Daytona kind of ends the year. It didn't this year, but normally ends the year at the regular season, and I'm fine with that too. So because that avoids a playoff a playoff track.
They talk about it in real life. We talk about it on here about plate races being a wild card race. But if you look at it stats wise from the actual Cup Series, it's really not as much of a wild card as you would think. You have your continual guys who are always up front, and I think it is a big skill set of this series. You have 2 Atlantas, 2 Talladegas, and 2 Daytonas a year. So you have 6 of your 36 races are plate races. So I think that should be represented in the playoffs. Do I think it should be twice? Probably not, but it should be in there. So I would be green that Talladega should be in every year. I don't think Atlanta should be in the playoffs personally, but I don't have any say in the real NASCAR Cup Series. But moving on to this next topic for Put It Out, Vernon, I'm going to start with you. The Roval deserves to be in the schedule rather than 2 Charlotte ovals.
Red flag. I cannot stand the Roval. It's just about. I mean, I can't stand Chicago Street Course. So that one's at the bottom of my list. But the Roval's right there. That's one track that I struggle at, and I don't know what it is about the Roval. I don't know. I used to like it, especially in the Mazdas, but just like we don't need road courses in the playoffs, in my opinion. I know it gives a little bit of excitement or a chance for a different winner because in real life and in our league, there are cars that dominate road courses. And most of those guys that dominate these road courses in our league usually drive very well on the ovals, but I get you want to give a chance for other guys, but I just don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I don't, especially the Roval.
Corey, I can guess your opinion, but let's hear it.
Red flag on the Roval. Nuke it all. Every last bit of it. I'd be more than fine with going back to Charlotte for the second year. I didn't get a chance to run Charlotte, where I was in the Indianapolis 500, and I don't think I get to ask you guys how that was. Was it kind of like where you just kind of slight lift and then you just go, or just how was that compared to or was it kind of like a little lesser than Atlanta? Was it? Because
it's a little. You still have to have some type of throttle control and off the throttle and through the corners. So you'll wear the right front off if you don't, and then you're sitting there. And obviously the high line at the oval at Charlotte is the kind of preferred line, but it also eats your tires a little more than others. So I know at Charlotte, I think I finished 12th or something like that. I was running the low line and people were driving by me, and then 5-10 laps later, here I come back on the bottom, driving back by people because they just ran their stuff off.
Sure. Yeah, I'd say I'll probably be for going to Charlotte twice, because I think that kind of tire saving deal would probably kind of play in a factor. But golly, it's just Charlotte would be so much better if we just had more horsepower on with this next gen car. It's like driving a truck essentially, just slight lifts and all that. I mean, I don't know. But I'll take that versus the Roval any second of the day.
Tony, what do you think?
Red flag. I can't stand the Roval. I think we have too many road courses as is. Jordan would disagree with me, Jordan Wenzel, but I think we have way too many road courses on the schedule, and the Roval, in my opinion, was a band-aid to the fact that the Oval hadn't been producing good races. But with this car, the Oval produces great racing at Charlotte, so I think that it wouldn't hurt to have 2 Charlotte Ovals.
I'm going to counter Vernon's point for just a second where he doesn't think a road course should be in the playoffs. If you look at the schedule, road courses now make up 1/6 of every race. So in our playoffs, or the NASCAR playoffs, I guess, I don't know how you could not have a road course because it has to make up, I guess a sample size of what the actual full season is. Now, do I think there should be 2 of them? Maybe not, but I think definitely you need to have 1. I think the Glen is a better choice than the Roval, but I actually don't mind the Roval. Third question, I'm going to start with you, Corey, and it's going to be lifting to help a manufacturer partner should be allowed. and this is kind of going to what happened at Talladega in the actual Cup Series, is do you think you should be able to not race 100% to the finish if it's going to help a manufacturer partner?
Let's see. I mean, last time I checked, everyone was going for the win. So I mean, but I mean, I guess if you, I don't know. I know, like with my opinion, I have no issue with like a Chevrolet pushing a Ford or vice versa or something like that. But when you get into like these manufacturer deals, there's not really a rule against it. I mean, it's I don't know. I I I don't know. That's actually a good one to try to go up on that one there because I don't have much of an issue with it, but it's just kind of like the hidden agenda. Like you don't want to help a competitive manufacturer, but I mean I don't mind it. I mean if anything, like if you had the choice between like trying to go make it 3 wide and get the win versus pushing a competitive manufacturer, you probably want to just make it 3 wide, and that way it screws both of y'all, and then say your other Chevy teammate or whatever can get the win there. But I don't.
Tony, what do you think?
Now you're saying it should it be allowed?
I'm saying my statement was it should be allowed for put it out.
Oh,
Do you agree
yeah,
it should?
I'm sure. Yeah, I'd say green flag with it. Yeah, yeah, allow it. I mean, I don't see no issue with it. I mean, someone's got a problem with it, well, that's their own fault.
Well, there's 100% rule, and if you're backing off to not, push the guy in front of you, that violates the 100% rule. But on the flip side, I also get you're essentially helping a teammate possibly win a championship. So I don't like hearing, that in real life that Larson backed off. But I get it. So we'll yellow flag.
Let me ask you something there, Tony. You mentioned about the 100% rule. When was the last time that was even brought up, like in existence? Because I think there've been plenty times, like if you had some fuel fillers back there, like I don't think I heard one time about the 100% rule. Hell, I was at Bristol and people were talking about like with who was it? Malicki in the 66 car. Like he was probably like 2 seconds a lap off the pace, maybe a second. But he got out of people's way. But I don't think I saw one time of someone mentioned about the 100% rule and he needed to park it. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I don't think that 100% rule is. I just think it's non-existent at this point.
That goes back to the fuel saving. I mean, running half throttle around the racetrack for 95% of the race. I mean, that's again not going 100%. So I don't know.
They brought that up on Don't Remember Clear earlier this season about does fuel saving at a plate race go against the 100% rule? I don't think it does because it's an actual strategy. You're going 100% of your strategy, but I think lifting heading towards start finish is not a strategy. That's helping a manufacturer partner who is not going for a championship. They just are going solely for a win. Now, granted, Brad's not going for a championship either right now, but I personally don't think it should be allowed. So I'd probably say a yellow. It's tough to really decide what they were thinking in the moment. Although Larson's spotter was yelling at him to lift, so that kind of gives you a hint. But Vernon, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, Larson, I guess the SMT data would come back from what I've seen that he didn't lift, or am I wrong on that?
He did lift, yeah.
He did. Okay. I'm gonna go yellow. I get why you want to help a manufacturer out and win, but at the same time, I don't like it because you're affecting how the finish is going to be by not giving another car a chance, or that car losing 2-3 spots, you losing spots as well. I mean, I know he didn't lose spots and Brad didn't lose spots, but I don't like the idea of it affecting an outcome for multiple cars.
On the contrary, I mean, what's to say that if Larson didn't back off, that Keselowski doesn't win by 6/1000ths of a second?
Yeah, but
Instead
that
of
would
losing.
also would have pushed Kyle Larson to third. That's another point that he would have gained over William Byron. Now, I think William Byron still advances on points because I'm pretty sure he was well over 60 at the end of the race, but that's another point that Kyle could have had. Well, I mean, what's Ricky Stenhouse gaining, or Chevy's gaining a win off of Stenhouse? Oh, yeah, cool, awesome. That's great. But those two in front of you don't affect anything. You're racing for a playoff.
But you have the manufacturers championship, and I know the manufacturers championships, the bragging rights, and there's a lot of money that gets thrown around.
I get that, but at the same point, you're racing Ford, and Ford hasn't really been at the top this year.
I'm just going to say this: nobody gives a flying about manufacturers championship. That's been irrelevant for God knows how long.
You want team championships and the driver championship.
Yeah, the owners and stuff is what's more important versus.
And at that point, nobody really. I mean, you're pushing the 47 to win. That doesn't gain you anything. You're pushing the 6 to win. They have 1 year win on the year, or 1 win.
And they're out of the chase, so it doesn't.
They're out, so it really doesn't. It doesn't. You're not gaining anything by pushing the 6 to win. I don't like it, but at the same time, I get it. But I'd rather it not be there. I'd rather you go full bore.
Yeah, it always aggravated me because what Chevy's like is like, we won the manufacturers championship for the 18th year in a row, and I'm like, well, yeah, because 3/4 of the field is Chevrolets. What do you expect? I mean, like I never.
Chevy's better than everybody.
Well, I just never knew. Even to this day, I never understood like how did they score the points in that. It's just that's why I just think it's just kind of really irrelevant. Now, owners and stuff, owners standings, that kind of means something, but not manufacturers, in my opinion.
I always like put it out. I think it gives us some good differing opinions, brings up some good discussion. I am yellow on it. I agree with the 100% rule, but I also get trying to push your partners to a win. I think in real life it matters a lot more. Chevrolet, Toyota, Ford, they're all trying to push their products, and being able to say that we win X, Y, and Z races to them matters. I'm sure that they can put an actual number in the column as to how many dollars more it makes them have it, and I see why that matters. But from a viewer standpoint, even as a HMS fan, I hate seeing Larson lift just because he doesn't want to push Brad K to a win. It's just tough to understand, I guess, from a viewer standpoint. But moving on, though, the Roval is where we're heading this week. I think we all know who's probably going to win this race, but let's talk about strategy for a second, specifically for the playoff drivers. So for Corey and Vernon, are you guys in the position where you're going for a win or going for points? Are you going to flip the script? What are you going to do there, Corey?
Points. Because you ain't going to have no way to win. You got no chance. So the best thing you could do is just get as much stage points you can. And then if you're lucky enough to even, if someone don't try to flip the stage, you go out there and just stay in the top 10 and, you'll be pretty comfortable. But yeah, race it for points.
Are you in the same boat there, Vernon?
Yeah, I'm not flipping the stage. One, I don't think I'm going to be close enough to the leader to even get down on pit road before we cross that 2 to go. Because if you're going to flip the stage, you're going to want to do it on the last lap possible. But I want the stage points. Missing stage points at Talladega really hurt me. So yeah, points, all points. The win, I don't think is even going to become close to the question. I think I was running 2 seconds slower than I ran my fastest lap time in these Cup cars at this track. So it felt super sketchy on track. I think points is the way to go. Hopefully, you can get a top 10, and we'll see where we are at the end of the day.
Tony, is somebody like me where this race doesn't matter one way or the other? Are you going to try to get a solid stage and a solid finish, or maybe sacrifice the stage to get a better finish?
That's a good question. Truthfully, I suck at the Roval, so we're just gonna try not to finish last.
Well, hopefully you don't finish last. I like road courses. I don't think the Roval's my best. I think Roval's probably my worst, but I'm hoping for a solid day, maybe top 10, at least top 15. Otherwise, I really messed up and ate the wall. And if I do, it's probably that first wall as you're leaving the infield heading towards turn 1. That'll be the wall that I hit if I do.
Oh, how'd you do at the street course?
Moving on to the next topic.
I actually did decent at the street course. I was just slow.
I feel like I would have been fine at the street course, but I got damaged from somebody else making stupid choices and had to pit for it. And I ate the wall over. You come over the hump, you come over the bridge, you make a right-hand turn towards start finish line. I was pushing too hard and I locked him up and ate that wall. Would that have been like turn 12 or something? I don't know.
Something like that.
Anyways, I destroyed it. It was rough. Or it destroyed me, however you want to phrase that. It was not pretty. But the Roval's a different race. Hopefully that does not happen. But if it does, it'll be in turn 1. I can tell you that now. But if you're some of these bubble drivers, Simon, Garrett, Whitley, and then definitely Ty. Ty for sure, you got to flip the stage if you're not leading. But what do you think for these people like Murphy and Simon and Garrett that are right on the cusp? Would you flip it, Corey, or would you go for points?
I don't know, because I think, at least, I don't know about everyone else's situation, but I can see, like, with Garrett, if he just does the same thing that he did at the street course, he'll be in good shape. I can't remember if he flipped the stage or he had enough pace and everybody else making mistakes to where he got up to second. I can't remember what he did, but like I said, he finished second at second or third at the street course, and that was a big boost for his confidence there. So if he could just do the same thing from Chicago, he'll be fine.
Vernon, if you're sitting on right on the bubble, say you're the one that's +4 or -4.
I'm plus
is that
7,
going to
so, or plus 6.
Okay.
I'm plus 6.
Not much different, I guess.
No,
So you'd
plus
still be
7,
doing the
something
same
like that.
thing then?
Yeah,
Points day?
It's 100% points day for
Okay.
everybody that's on the bubble or even below the bubble. The only person that was mentioned that is not points racing come Thursday is Ty, and that's because I think he's somewhere right, like plus he's over 10 points. The last I saw, I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but no, he's a lot more than that. He's 31. Holy. Okay. Ty Bostic is 100% and must win. Everybody else is a points day race.
So winner predictions. We're all going to say who we think's going to win on 3. You ready? 1, 2, 3.
Jordan Booth.
Wetzel.
Jordan Wetzel.
Oh, calling out Booth.
Yeah, I got Booth's number there. I think he could pull it out. He was impressive at that little short span at the Glen until he bended it. But I could see he showed early on in that Glen race. He could keep up with Wetzel.
Well, now how was Wenzel driving? Was Wenzel going full bore, or like was he going 100%, or was he just saying, you can stick with me all you want, I'm gonna keep everything under
I would say Wenzel was probably
temperatures.
I would say Wenzel was probably like maybe 90. But
that's the thing is I don't think we've seen Wenzel really have to push it. I would love to see how fast he can go if he really gets competition.
I don't think he was pushing at the Glen either. I think he was about 85-90% on how fast he was going, because we all know he can go faster than that.
Well, we
I've got-
definitely know that Booth went 100 because he killed the
Yeah,
wall
he
in one
had
of the
to-
turns.
he had
to.
I've got a bold prediction here. Booth
Who's
and
that?
Wetzel are going to be racing for the win, and they're going to take each other out, and Corey's going to win the race.
I am not going to be third. What are you talking about?
If anything, it'd be Murphy.
Yeah, Murphy. Yes, yeah, I agree with that one, Murphy.
But
This would be Murphy's best chance to get him his first win this year. It's
I
been
think
long
Simon-
overdue.
I think Simon won this race last year, though.
No, it was he who shall not be named won this race last year.
Oh, did he really?
I'm pretty
Him
sure
and-
I was out within like the first 5 laps of this race last year.
it was him and Jai who had that epic battle.
That's
And,
right.
And then he
The one time they didn't touch each other.
yeah,
What's Jai up to these days?
I have no idea.
He can stay away from the league for all I care.
Don't look here. We're not going to start that. I think without a fast repair, there's going to be more emphasis on staying on the track, staying out of the wall. I haven't run the track yet, so I don't know if it's the updated version yet.
It sucks.
No, it's not. It's not.
Honestly, though, you're gonna have to keep it off the wall. Turn one's gonna be a big issue because we saw it last year in this race last year. Everybody goes into turn one person gets sideways up front, and everybody behind them stacks in. Without a quick fix, that could ruin a lot of people's days.
You know,
And,
what I'm gonna say, I wish when there was a chicane coming to the start finish line that on any restart, NASCAR or iRacing would not use the chicane. I think that is such a big disadvantage and a big advantage for the guys up front.
NASCAR doesn't use it on the restart.
I said iRacing. I
Yeah.
know I started to say NASCAR, but iRacing.
I thought NASCAR is using it to prevent the turn one stack ups now.
They might have gone back to it, but I know they didn't because that's why everybody would run into turn one and hit the wall because the break point was different.
Which is, I think, why they moved the. I could be very wrong here, but they moved the zone for the Glen into the corner or further back towards the corner, and they're moving the restart zone for the Roval too. I could be.
Slower speeds. I get that.
Which
They don't want
sucks if you're
everybody-
further
they don't
back in the
want everybody-
pack because
yeah.
it's like an opposite.
That's what I'm
accordion
saying.
effect.
It's like you gotta now accelerate, brake heavy, get into the chicane, get out of the chicane, accelerate, and now you're braking heavy again. All while the leader accelerates with a slight little brake to get in the chicane and then goes. You know. I don't
Right.
know. I mean, obviously you're the leader. You're supposed to get the advantage. I get that. I'm not saying they shouldn't. But the chicane, I feel like, especially for us, is going to kill a whole bunch of us right off the rip.
And I want to say something real quick. Tony mentioned about the guy who went sideways last year going to turn one. That guy was me. Hi, I'm the problem you
Corey.
saw. That was I was when I started on pole and going into turn one, just looped it, and then Murphy died hitting the wall. And how everybody avoided me, I'll never understand. But I just remember that whole thing. Murphy died, and didn't. I don't think he completed like 3 laps but he qualified like I think third or fourth. I mean, he was up there, and then tried to avoid all the shenanigans that I caused. And
I forgot who it was.
Yeah,
Still is that little hump after you make that first left-hand turn in turn one, and then there's a hump like what, maybe 50 feet.
Yeah.
Who the
Further.
hump
If you're
is
full throttle, like have fun eating the inside wall because it's coming quick.
There ain't much time to brace for impact.
Yeah. And that's a tight squeeze on the start and restarts. I mean, that is a narrow frickin' place to be. Before we move on to the new Hot Lap Losers Bracket Challenge, we're going to run through the playoff drivers real quick. In first place, locked into the round of 8, we have the driver number 41 car, Jordan Booth, who with a win at Talladega has locked himself in. Second place, we have Alex Forget Berube, driver of the number 19 car at plus 24 to the cut. Third place, we have our very own Corey Bunch, driver of the number 77 machine, plus 20. Fourth place, Jordan Wenzel, plus 16. Fifth place, almost a winner, but not quite. Last week, Eric Jeffers, driver number 12, is plus 11. Sixth place, we have Vernon Brodbeck, after a very controversial finish, plus 6 to the good. Seventh place, we have Tyler Lem, driver of the number 99 car, plus 6. And then at the cut, in eighth place, we have Alex Murphy, plus 4. Just below the cut at minus 4, we have Simon Magin. In 10th, we have Garrett Walden, minus 4 to the cut. In 11th, we have Michael Whitley, minus 7 to the cut. And then in last place, we have Ty Bostic, minus 31 in a must-win situation, if I had to guess. As we're looking at the Roval, Corey, who do you see as being your 4 out of the picture?
I know Ty's going to be out. I just don't see him pulling off a magic miracle Hail Mary kind of deal. So he'll be, I think he'll be the first one out for sure. Let me get, God, as much as I hate to say it, I have a bad feeling Tyler Lim, something's going to happen to him and he'll fall out. Murphy's got it. If nothing, Murphy's it. Dude, that's tough because I'd want to say Simon would get up there, but for the way that his luck's been, I don't see that. So Simon would be my third. My final one. Oh, he's gonna kill me. But hey, it's worked before, so prove me wrong, Whitley. I think he'll be the last one. Whitley will just miss it, because I think kind of 7 points will be kind of a closing gap to beat that. But he be the one I finished ninth, just miss it. But yeah, so my top 4: Ty Bostic, Simon, Tyler Lim, and then Whitley.
Any change for you there, Tony?
Ty's definitely going to be out. I hate it for Ty because it's been a good run, but I think he's got an average finish of like 17 on the road courses this year. I think that Tyler Lim's going to fall out. I think Michael, if enough people show up and Michael comes up with a good strategy to flip the stage, I think Michael's going to ease or squeak his way in. And it's going to be Tyler Lim, Ty Bostic, probably Garrett for sure out. I don't know. Vernon, you've been pretty good at the road courses. I think Michael makes his way out, and Tyler Lim is the one that's going to replace Michael.
Vernon.
First one out is obviously Ty Bostic. 31 points. I just don't see him winning over Murphy or Wenzel. I know he's put up okay finishes the last few times, but I just don't see him having race winning speed. Unfortunately for him, he's had a decent year and a pretty good. I mean, it's pretty good to make the round of 12 in the playoffs. I gotta give him that. The next one out, and this is just, I hate saying it again. I know he finished great at the street course in Chicago, and this kind of races like that, so it'll be interesting to see. But if Walden doesn't have a run like he had at Chicago, I just don't see him making the round of 8. I'd love to see me be wrong, but I just don't see it. The next one, Tyler Lim also had a really good Chicago street course race until he got into that fun battle with Wenzel that ultimately ended his night. Chances for a win, I should say. But I think Tyler's going to probably fall out. I think Murphy's too good at the Roval to not jump him. He's only 2 points back. And then the last one, unfortunately, I say is probably between me and Simon. I know I'm only 6 points ahead of Simon, so like one bad stage run for me and a good stage run for him, and then we kind of finished in the same spot. After that, I could be out. So I want to go and say Simon, but realistically, I have to look at it. I have to say probably me or Simon. I'm gonna put that one as a 50-50 shot for my 4th spot.
I'm going to say Ty is not going to win and is going to be out because of the position he's in. I think if you look at it outside of Chicago being an outlier, Garrett has not had a great season at road courses. Average starts 20th. His average finish is 10th, but Chicago's kind of an outlier. Simon and Alex are pretty good at road courses. Tyler is not. I think he has an average finish of 13th. I see him being outside of the cut line. And I think Whitley's a good road course racer. He's going to have a strong finish to make it inside the cut line. I think he's going to fall right on the cut. Whether or not he makes it in or out, I think we'll have to see. But I think that's kind of where I see the cards falling. And the last thing we have to go over today is our new Hot Lap Losers Bracket Challenge. We're going to run through this real quick, matchup by matchup. I want you guys to give a quick prediction. You don't really have to say why. I just want to hear who you think is going to win. Sound good?
Good.
Sure.
Sounded like so thrilled there, Corey. Sure. It's like I was kind of like a dentist asking if I wanted to pull your tooth. Sure.
Yeah.
Matt Robinson versus Tyler Sexton. Corey.
Robinson for sure, 100%. Sexton can't hold a line, so Robinson's got it.
Wow. Oh. Can't hit the brakes either. Tony, go ahead.
Robinson.
Vernon.
If Robinson shows up, Robinson.
I'm going to go Robinson as well. Next matchup, Scott Thomas versus Richard Mills. A little bit trickier one. Let's go Vernon.
Why me first? Scott Thomas. Richard usually showcases decent speed at all tracks. This year has been a very, very down year for the guy. Unfortunately, I hate seeing it for him, but Scott Thomas.
Tony.
Richard Mills.
Corey.
I want to say Mills because for the simple fact if Mills just stays clean, I think Mills has got it.
It's such a toss-up. I love both of them. Mills has been a staple of the league since it started. Obviously, Scott has too because he's one of the founders of the league. Man, that's kind of like a coin toss. I'm gonna go Scott Thomas but not by much. Next one, Tony. We'll start with you. Corey Ennis versus Nick Alves.
Ooh. That's a tough one. I'm probably going to take Nick Alves there.
Vernon?
Corey Ennis. I think Alves has been just so hit or miss on showing up for races. I know he was there at Talladega, but if he's not here this week, then obviously Corey gets a freebie. So I'm going to go with Corey.
And Corey.
Well, this is probably one of the easier ones right here. Ennis. Now with the contingent of if Todd Smith does not run the Cup car and gets involved with Ennis has got it.
I'm going to go Nick Alves with the stipulation of if he shows up. Neither of them have excelled at road course races, but Nick averages 16.5 for his finish versus 23rd for Corey. So I think a clear-cut winner there based on road course finishes, but it's a matter of whether or not he's going to show up. Next matchup is who we actually have to thank for putting this bracket together because he called us out for not talking about people outside the playoffs. Matt Parasini, thank you for that. Didn't realize our show was that focused on just playoff drivers, but you brought up a good point and you brought this about. So Matt Parasini versus Jonathan
Marcus.
Yeah.
What was that?
It was purposely messed up.
I'm going to go with Parasini. Jonathan hasn't shown up to a race in a long time. I don't see him showing up again.
I don't see him showing up to the podcast, so I don't care if he heard me mispronounce his name, Corey.
I almost saved the driver of that 72 car just for the fact that it pissed Matt off.
Tony, who you taking?
Is Jonathan Canadian too?
Yeah.
Oh, battle of our Canadians. I'm gonna go with Parasini.
I'm also going to go with Parasini. He's a very talented driver. I think he pushes it too hard sometimes. There's some tracks, one that comes to mind right off the top is Pocono. He was really good at, but was just pushing it really hard.
Here's your stat for you, boys. Jonathan hasn't showed up to a race since Indianapolis when I turned him and put him in the wall coming out of
All
fourth.
right. So basically,
so you killed him. Okay.
so basically, Matt has a bye. Next matchup, me versus Martin Pinnell. Corey.
Do I want to do it? Golly. It's been. I've not really seen much out of Martin on these road courses because I don't know how he is on it.
Well, there's a four average of finish of four spots difference between Clark and Martin. Clark's 15th, Martin's finishing 19th on average.
I'll tell you what, that's going to depend on who comes out of there clean. Give me Clark.
Oh, thank you. Tony.
Who has the higher average finish? Clark.
Me.
I'll go with Clark.
Oh, thank you. You guys are too kind. Vernon.
Well, since I don't want to be a homer and he's on my team, so I can't really pick him, I got to go with Clark.
I'm also going to call my own number here. I think I'm going to beat Martin Pinnell. Hopefully,
keep it clean.
Move on to the next round. That way I can pay myself rather than somebody else for winning this bracket. You never know. Next is going to be Joseph Musow versus Mike Wheel. And I will start with Vernon this time. Who you got?
Joseph.
Quick answer there. Corey.
I go with Musa as well. I think he's been getting better. That seemed kind of like peaking in the top 10 and stuff too. So yeah, I go with Joseph on this one.
Tony, who are you taking?
Oh, give me the Moose. Joseph Musow.
I am also going to go with the Musow as well because Wheel has not ran a road course. So kind of hard to judge somebody off that. I'm going to go with the stats that I do know, and Musow hasn't, been better than Wheel since he hasn't ran one. Next is going to be Ron Fitting versus Austin Walton. Vernon?
If Austin Walton keeps it clean, it'll be Austin. I like Ron. I think he's improved, but I just don't see him. And I know points-wise it says Ron, but Austin came into the league right on the number of having to make every race, so I got to go Austin.
Corey?
Yeah, I'd say Austin as well. I mean, yeah, sure, Ron has improved quite a bit. I mean, he's been getting better compared to how it was beginning of the year. But just something about Austin, man. Like, he's been up there in the front. Where it was like Darlington or even McBristol, he had a shot.
Should have won that race.
Yeah, if everything went his way, he would have won that race. But yeah, give me Austin on this one.
And Tony?
This has potential to be probably the best matchup because if you look at it by the numbers, Ron Fitting actually has a better average finish position at road courses.
And he has one more race under his belt, which I was surprised when I was looking at the stats.
Yeah.
Ron's run 30 races. Austin's run 23.
But if you're looking at road courses, 4 versus 3.
I'd say, and Ron's got an average finish of 19.5, and I think Austin's was 21 even.
21. Yep.
I'm gonna go with Austin Walton.
Man, I'm a fan of going by the stats, but I also am a homer sometimes, and Austin is in our group chat every race we have, and that dude has had a clean freaking nose the last 10 plus races. I think his position in this league doesn't do justice to how good he's been racing. I'm gonna put Austin pretty well into the lead on this head-to-head matchup. Ron, it's nothing against you. I think you've also done pretty well this year, but I think Austin's gonna beat you out this week. This week's the last matchup's gonna be Vince Burns versus Cody Graham.
Vince Burns.
This is a freebie, so he hasn't raced since May 9th. Yeah,
May 9th.
since May of
Probably.
09.
So, yeah,
Vernon, he hasn't raced since we were in junior high.
I saw the May 09 thing. I was like, oh, and then I was like, oh, you dumb. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be
Vince
Vince Burns. Gimme
Oh,
into the next round.
He could start in park.
That breaks down the Hot Lap Losers Bracket Challenge. We're excited to see where this goes. Corey, if you had to pick a winner right now, who you think's going to take home the championship on that?
Definitely not Matt Parasini.
Corey's gonna wreck him beforehand, is what he said.
Dude, I don't know. Like that one's kind of tough. But if I were to put my money on someone right off the gate, ooh, give me Joseph Musso on that. I think he can. If he makes all the races and just keeps running like he had been, I think he could take it.
If we're going off of pure speed, it's either Robinson, Musso, Matt, or Vince. I know Vince really hasn't had the pure speed, but he's had enough speed to be up there fighting. If Robinson shows up to every race, it's his. I think he's clear favorite when it comes to it. 15 top 10s, 4 top 5s. The only person that is close to him on top 5s, and that's just tied, is Parasini with 4. But top 10 wise, Matt's got 8 to Robinson's 15, and Vince only has 9 to those 15. So I got to go Matt Robinson.
Tony?
I'm gonna go with Matt Robinson to win it all. But as much as we heard about not talking about playoff drivers, Parasini better at least show up and do something in this bracket.
I think my 2, I'll pick 2 since I'm going to catch flack for always picking teammates for stuff. I think Vince has a really good shot of winning this bracket. I also think Musau as well. I think old Canada is going to show up and do pretty well. I guess there's a few Canadas in there, but I think Musau is going to do pretty well there. So that's going to end it for the show today. As always, we thank you all for tuning in, listening. It's exciting that we could finally get all 4 of us back in at the same time to talk together. We're looking forward to the race here at the Roval, and we can't wait to talk to you next week. Take care.
By the way, Matt Parasini, love you, mean it. See ya.
Later.